welcome to another edition of Talk of Him Conference Talks. We're so excited to be with you. And I'm so excited because this is one of my top talks from the conference.
Yeah, I know you really liked it. I liked it too. It's very memorable.
Shout out to Elder Bragg if you're watching.
Elder Mark Bragg of the 70.
Christlike Poise.
Yeah.
I love how he started out like, everyone thinks I'm going to give a talk about humility because my name is Bragg, and I'm not.
I'm not.
I'm going to just say this without saying too much, and I feel like this can happen depending on when you listen to a talk, but it was in live time. So the conference was it was in live.
Yeah.
Something had happened right in between the two sessions, and I was not feeling very poised. And so it felt like balm to my soul to have this talk. Like
You were feeling what? Disrupted, kind of spiritually?
Oh,
kind
on
of
so many
off-center.
On so many levels.
Yeah. Okay.
And the specifics aren't important. I think it's just that it felt to me like sometimes talks come in live time exactly where you need them placed.
Yeah.
I feel like all the talks from the Sunday morning session were like bam, 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 answer to prayers as well. Like sometimes it's a collection, but this was just this little gem. I loved how Elder Bragg talked about the three ways in which we could stay in poise, from divine identity to eternal perspective to the atonement, accessing the atonement. And I feel like the last few weeks on our Come Follow Me show, we've talked about these exact principles in how we can approach knowing who we really are. Was Zacchaeus this week, right? Or eternal perspective when it comes to the prodigal son and understanding that eventually things can work themselves out.
I like that.
To accessing the atonement in a way that feels like we talked with Sister President Johnson's talk
that's
on
right.
letting go of those
backpack
rocks.
full of rocks.
Yes. And I feel like there are so many specific ways, but I loved this quote specifically from Elder Bragg. Knowing who we are and being true to our divine identity brings calm. Christ-like poise requires that we avoid comparing ourselves to others or pretending to be someone we're not. So I'm going to just say this because it's been 5 minutes since I said stewardship. Listen, I was just at an event, a wedding, where there were a lot of Talk of Him viewers, and I guess they had made a bet on how long it would be. And I finally said stewardship. And I was like, well, I would have said it sooner if it was going to get you guys anything out of the deal. But
They were literally making bets.
They were literally making bets like how, okay, she finally said it. I was like, well, I don't say it all the time, but
Next time we all go to dinner,
we're going to
just
do
know
that.
that's happening
Okay,
behind the
great.
scenes.
Sarah and John are going to bet. I just think that when you know your divine identity, what I really have found for me is I go into ownership when I go into comparisons. And I think I'm the least poised when I'm in that state of mind.
Yeah.
When I'm vertically connected and I'm super clear that I am in my lane, doing what God asked me to do.
Yep.
Now, full disclosure, part of the reason why I pull out of that is not because I'm not trusting God. I'm not always hearing him. And so I think this is where faith friends can help you on your divine identity, understanding the plan that maybe they see for you that you've lost sight of, and accessing the atonement. And so for me, just was so grateful that this talk came right then, and then that we get to keep revisiting it, because there's seasons in my life where I feel definitely less poised.
Yeah, for sure.
When I'm in stewardship, I feel poised.
I just laughed at myself thinking of times in my life when I was anything but spiritually poised.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love that Elder Bragg was like, these are the three things you could go back to if you're like not acting so poised right now.
Thank you for sharing that. Mine comes from knowing that there is a divine plan and this eternal perspective that helps us maintain our poise spiritually in difficult situations. This is a specific quote I was drawn to. It says, "Poise comes when we see things from an eternal perspective. The Lord has counseled his disciples to lift up your eyes," that vertical connection we're talking about, "and let the solemnities of eternity rest upon your minds." I would say, especially in terms of our divine identity and the divine identity of others, by framing challenging times within an eternal plan, pressure becomes a privilege to love, serve, teach, and bless. An eternal view enables Christ-like poise. I thought I'd share a quick experience.
Okay.
I had like 3 in mind, but this was one I never shared before.
Oh.
That I don't share very often. But it's really quick. It was the birth of one of our kids. When he came out, every kid when they're born looks kind of like an alien when they come out, right?
A squished
Yes,
alien.
yes, but this one specifically looked like he may have some special needs. And I was like, oh man, like I had never thought of having a special needs kid before, ever. And it was like, I was thunderstruck because it was just new, a new thought, a new potential reality that I had never before considered. And I remember the doctors just took him, wrapped him up, took him out, and didn't say anything other than, he's breathing, he's healthy, whatever. Yeah. But I was like, oh my gosh, I think I have a special needs child. And I took a walk. It was in the middle of the night, and I walked outside of the hospital. Gosh, I didn't expect to get emotional on this one, and so I'm better now, just breathe. And I remember just staring up at heaven, and I was like, wow, I have a special needs kid. And I remember feeling the weight, like, I can't do this. I can't do it. And then it just, I don't know, this eternal perspective filled my soul. And it was like I could see, I don't know how else to say it, I could just see into the future, into the eternities. And me having a special needs child was just a sacred stewardship that I would be strengthened to take care of, that it would be great, it would be beautiful, it would be sacred. There was no reason to fear. And it took me about 10, 15 minutes, but I was crying and I felt filled with love and confidence. And I went back in and I went into the nursery. The doctor called me in when they had him all cleaned up, and he was like, he checked everything out, and yeah, he has no special needs and he specifically said that. Apparently he was thinking it too, because just of his appearance and things, And so he didn't have special needs. Now, Fast forward to my 5th child who has special needs. And when I finally discovered that she had special needs, there was no thunderstruck, oh no moment for me. It was just like, okay, let's go. It was just beautiful and kind of seamless for me. There was of course, there's always some mourning when you realize your kid isn't going to be a normal functioning kid, right? My daughter's never going to be married in this life and things like that. You deal with those realities, and those can be heavy. But man, he prepared me. That eternal perspective that gave me poise then, gave me poise again in the future.
So as you were sharing that, I was thinking, like, I'm so, like, overcome with the reality that I know my current trials, there will be a day I will fall at the knees of God and thank him for them. Because as you just shared, you illustrated exactly, like, I feel like sometimes we're called to do this thing and we will have the poise over here.
Over here. It wasn't here right at the beginning when you thought.
Yes.
But it's just
and all of a sudden
you.
we'll be like, how is that? Divorce, mental health, cancer diagnosis. How am I going to plead with the world to rejoice over this when obviously on face value, it doesn't look like joyful at all? Yeah. Well, how the divine plan is, what if it's laying the groundwork? What if it's building the muscle? What if it's planting the seed? That is
easier said than done, right?
For sure. And I love that we have Rachel.
Oh, me too.
Man, that's a whole other episode.
Well, that's it. We hope that what we just shared today helps you maintain some spiritual poise in the things that you're struggling with. And we hope that you'll share with us in the comments below the parts of this talk that stood out to you and what specifically helps you maintain Christ-like poise in times of difficulty. Thanks again for joining us on Talk of Him Conference Talks, and we'll see you next week. Talk of Him is brought to you by Covenant Communications.
Make sure you follow us on social media and pick up a copy of Find Him Study Guide at Seagull Book or online.